Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So, congratulations to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on their victory in Super Bowl 55, 31-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs, who were going for their back-to-back second consecutive Super Bowl. Don't get it. Tampa Bay finishes the season as hot as any team we've seen in recent memory, considering what they did coming through the wild card round, and just hats off to that entire team, that entire staff, all the players there. We're going to get into the breakdown here, but first, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We appreciate everybody that's helping us grow the channel. I think we're about 1,200 people short of 10K. So if you want to be a part of that journey to 10K, you really just like what we talk about here, and try to be as consistent with the content as I possibly can. Hit that like button, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Now, in terms of this football game, life is very, very different when you don't have your offensive tackles and when you're missing both of them. Myself, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, unfortunately, I know that feeling all too well, as I saw Dak Prescott have to play in a similar manner as Patrick Mahomes today. People that are Texans fans and the woes they've had with their offensive line can probably attest to some of those things as well. This game does not change my opinion on Patrick Mahomes whatsoever. I still think he's an unbelievable player. I still think he's the best quarterback in the game, deserving of all the praise and accolades. I know there's going to be some weak takes tomorrow and people saying that he didn't carry his team to a victory and all this nonsense. Okay. It is a team sport and you can only do so much. The quarterback often gets too much blame and also too much credit when the team wins. So in this particular case, he competed his ass off. It's not his fault Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce all of a sudden develop drops and double catching the football, and their secondary guys not able to make plays. He's trying to create, I thought, the Kansas City game plan. Game plan is what it is, but the fact that they didn't adjust quickly quickly enough, really impacted the outcome. Yes, you can be upset with the officiating early on in the first half. I thought the officiating was poor and they were too involved, especially with how they were letting guys play earlier in the season. But if people aren't going to compete and you're going to have the issues and the lack of adjustments, and Tampa Bay is there to hit you in the mouth, then what are we talking about the refs for at the end of the day? And I was tweeting about it. It was a problem at the beginning, but you have to give credit to Todd Bowles. To me, first and foremost, he was probably the MVP of this whole effort, all things considered, because we've been watching Mahomes the last 3 years now. Ain't nobody shut them down like that. Not even close. Not even close. They did not have a touchdown today. That's Todd Bowles in that Tampa Bay defense. Now, I believe Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, they played into Todd's hands, because when you have the backup tackle situation, I think it's imperative that you try to get them comfortable, especially when you got Mike Reimers in there. We know what a catastrophe he was in the Denver Carolina Super Bowl and when Cam Newton was running for his life. So we've seen this play out before. One of the things you got to do, and granted, he wasn't, in that case, he was a starter. In this case, he's, backing up Eric Fisher. I get that. But when you're trying to get by with losses like that on your offensive line and how that ultimately impacts the rest of what you can do, you can't do what you normally do. You're going to have to make adjustments quicker. You have to realize, hey, these dudes can't handle Shaq Barrett and JPP. We've got to either help them out. Either going to have to go more max protect. Have to try to run the football a little bit more and try to mix in some play action, some bootleg. I didn't see enough of that from Kansas City at all. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was healthy, and for him to only have, I believe, 9 carries for 64 yards, which is great output, that is not good enough. And, Mahomes' scrambles, I consider those more dropbacks because they weren't designed runs per se. So, they did not even try to establish a run. And one of the things to me that's always made Kansas City's attack so fun to watch and so explosive is the balance that they have running and passing. And we saw none of that today. They didn't even really try to establish it whatsoever. Juxtapose that with what Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich are doing, Tom Brady, balance. They didn't just come out and throw, 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 throw. Now, granted, Tampa Bay offensive line healthy, not under the same circumstances as Kansas City. And I also understand that Tampa Bay has the number one run defense. Vita Vea is in there. He's back from injury from before. And Sue is in there in the middle. So they're kind of doing the 2-4-5 look. And JPP is standing up. Shaq Barrett is standing up. I get it. Number one rush defense in the league. But Tampa Bay established their run, whether it was Fournette, whether it was Ronald Jones early. And I know they got stuck to the goal line, but they never went away from it. And that's always been important. Any of the teams that Brady's been on, they've always tried to establish that run game or screen game or something to take pressure off of just the straight drop back pass. That is too much to ask for any team sport. Remember that now. That is too much to ask for any individual to overcome under those circumstances. So that's one of the reasons why Tom Brady's the GOAT to me, from a football perspective, because this Tampa Bay team was 7-9 last year. And they won the Brady sweepstakes. And with him, he also got to put on his player GM hat, something I don't think he got to do too much of in New England, at least as much as he wanted to. And he turned into like LA Braun out here. He got Gronkowski to leave retirement. That's dope. Now he comes back and gets a ring. He gets playoff Lenny off the scrap heap after he got cut from Jacksonville. They go and get my man Antonio Crime Pays Brown and past the suspensions and all the legal troubles. They get him in the mix. And all these guys that want to come and play with Tom Brady. And Tampa Bay didn't have a winning culture or winning organization. Tampa Bay was, playoff-wise had a crazy playoff drought. I think going back to the John Gruden days with like Jeff Garcia, maybe I believe was their last playoff appearance. And to overcome all that with Brady, who comes in there, changes the culture, sets the tone, and understands how to function within what he is asked to do and what he's able to do. And he threw some really nice balls in there to Gronk. Gronk, as Bill Simmons says, they rolled him out of the garage today, so to speak. And they got their work done early, and they were very, very impressive. And then Todd Bowles and that Tampa Bay defense, they just dominated the entire football game. I'm not surprised that Tampa Bay had 31 points offensively. And considering the manner in which they got their 31, it was an easy 31 to where they were able, once some things got figured out on Spagnuolo's end, you see Honey Badger lose his cool, and some of the other guys on Kansas City, they're just getting frustrated with not being able to play football the way they wanted to. I was with you brothers for a little while, but in the second half, they didn't seem to when Tampa Bay seemed to have some of their zone blitzes figured out, they didn't counter. That's on you. And Tom Brady and them were able to roll. So Tom Brady offensively, like I said, they got their work done early. Byron Leftwich, all those guys. But Kansas City, I mean, when you look at the how many people did you see on Kansas City make a contested catch? Because I'm watching this guy Mahomes throw some of the most spectacular incompletions from an arm talent perspective I've ever seen in a football game. And some of these balls are hitting people in the face mask. And no one wants to make a play. No one wants to be great. I mean, you look at some of the Super Bowls we've seen, some of the catches that we saw in the Seattle Patriots Super Bowl, the Patriots Falcons Super Bowl, or the Tyree catch. Like some of the play, like this is the stage where, you got to be great. And so I think Kansas City, when you go back to the drawing board, Tyreek Hill have opportunity to make a play really early in the game, don't make it. Understand it's a tough catch, but it hits you in the face mask. Travis Kelce, normally reliable, drop, double catching all day. Other guys, y'all acted like other guys. Nobody wanted to be great. And that's the result. That's the result. So overall, I mean, it wasn't competitive because games are won in the trenches, and Kansas City got obliterated in the trenches up front. And that Tampa Bay front just ate them alive. Shout out to the Bucks for winning the Super Bowl at home. Very, very impressive. And for those of you who follow my channel for Cowboys content and whatnot, what you saw Mahomes going through tonight and how he looked, you should have a little bit more of appreciation for our guy Dak for when he's has Terrence Steele in there for Lael Collins, and we're rotating people back and forth for like Brandon Knight for Tyron Smith. So those are the circumstances that, and if you're a Kansas City fan watching my video, I would love to know from you guys if Patrick Mahomes has ever been under those circumstances, because I don't think he has. But I think Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, they're going to look back and say, why didn't we try to establish the run and help out our guys up front a little bit earlier? I think they allowed this thing to get away from them. Emotions got a hold, and it was a poor job overall by their staff and whatnot. I was still impressed with Patrick Mahomes, all things considered, but that's not good enough. Tom Brady gets his 7th ring, 10th Super Bowl. Undeniably the GOAT in football. I think you're having a real conversation about being the GOAT in team sports, especially what he's done for the culture. Those of you who are Patriots fans or Patriots defenders of the Brady versus Belichick debate, now we got to give Bill an opportunity to kind of counter next year, because they had some opt-outs and craziness. The Cam Newton thing was a disaster. They still finished 7-9, but Tom Brady going to another team and winning a Super Bowl in year 1 is ridiculous. And that kind of, the debate is on life support. Let's just put it that way. So, all very interesting things that you're going to hear coming up on, ESPN and Fox Sports 1, and all these hot takes that people are going to have. But context is important, and Brady is the GOAT, no question. Best resume I've seen. He's also probably one of the most fortunate athletes I can honestly remember in my lifetime, considering how many times the ball has bounced his way. And so I think that needs to be mentioned as well. But fortune favors the bold, and he went out there and decided to find a new opportunity for himself and capitalized on it, and has cemented himself, as one thing you can probably say, the greatest winner team sports, potentially. I mean, whether it's Jordan going 6-0 but didn't have the longevity, Russell having 11 rings, but the competition, when you go cross sports, Brady doesn't play defense, and he doesn't run the ball, like all those type of things. Now you're getting into a whole bunch of stuff that I don't care to get into right now in the video, but it is a fun conversation to have. Congratulations to Tampa Bay. Well deserved. Year 1 of this, and they got it done. Guys, all of you who have been praying and part of our team for my mom, I appreciate you. Thank you. We're hanging in there. Brother and I are fighting as best we can. It's a blessing just to be able to watch sports and just have a little bit of distraction for a little bit of time, as we're all dealing with life circumstances. So I appreciate it. And that's the recap. Peace.